we're going to look at today is hand execution of arrays part 2. This time we're going through the array looking for a particular value in the array. So once again, there is a sheet that you can do for this, but what I'm going to do again is cut and paste the code with the line numbers, and we'll look at this array here, and we're going to go and step through this code using this array. So what we have is the array there, and above it we have the index position of each element, and here is the value we're searching for, which is number 8. So I'm going to do this two ways, as I did in the first video on doing trace tables. I'm going to do it the way whereby we go through each line number, and then I'll do it again where we just go through changes in the value of I. But for people who are really confident, you can do it the second way, but for everyone else, you should do it this first way. So here we have our values. This is going to be the line number we're up to. That represents the variable I, that represents the result, that represents data I, and this represents the condition here, while I is less than data.length. And this represents the actual value of data.length. So in this case, there are 5 elements in the array, so data.length is always going to be 5. So I'll just fill that out. That's never going to change throughout the program. But we start off with I being equal to 0. That's on line 2. Yep. So I is equal to 0. We don't know what's in these other values, in these other variables. I mean, in Ruby they are initialized to nil, but in other languages maybe not. So be very careful that when you're working with values that you either initialize them or you don't use them until they're initialized. But that was line 2. We go to line 3, and we're going to set result to be 0. Oh, sorry, result to be false. I beg your pardon. Okay, and then we're going to say while line 4, while I is less than data.length. So I is 0, data.length is 5. So this condition is true. Then we come into line 5. And we've got another test here. If data x is equal to value. So let me insert another column here. Data I equal to value. And we also therefore have another variable called val. Alright, now val is passed in as a parameter. So you might say, okay, has that got a value? That's the 8 that we're looking for. So what was passed into this function was data, which is the array, and also val, which is 8. So I can put val in here. It will always be the same too. That's never going to change, or shouldn't change. Okay, we've done this first test. Is I less than data.length? And now we're going to go to line 5. Is data I equal to value? So we need to know what data I is. I is 0, so we come to the 0th position and we grab the data from there. So data I is 6 on line 5. Is it equal to value? Is 6 equal to 8? No. So that's going to be false. Alright. If that's false, then we skip over the if condition and we come down to line 9. In line 9, we add 1 to I. So I equals I plus 1. So it goes up. 0 plus 1 is 1. We come back to the top of the loop. So we're back at line 4. And we test this condition. Is I less than data.length? I is 1. Data.length is 5. So that is true. We come down to line 5. Is data I equal to value? We need to work out what data I is. I is 1, so we come across to the first value, and we see that data I is minus 2. So then we're going to compare it to value, which is this one. Is minus 2 equal to 8? No, it's false. Okay. So we skip over this, we come down again to line 9. At line 9, we go I equals I plus 1, so I goes up to 2. And then we come back up to line 4, and we say, okay, is I less than data.length? I is 2, data.length is 5, so that's true. We go down to line 5. Okay, is data I equal to value? First we have to work out what data I is. I is 2, so data I is going to be 3. So let's put 3 in there. Is that equal to value? Value is 8. No. So that's going to be false. So we skip over these and we go down to line 9. Line 9 says I equals I plus 1. So this goes to 3 now. And then we come back up to line 4. Line 4 asks, is I less than data.length? So I is 3. Is that length less than 5? Yes, that's true. So we go back into the loop and we come to line 5. Line 5 says, is data I equal to value? So we need to look up what data I is. We're now looking at the value I is 3. So we come to the third position and we find out that data I is, on line 5, is 8. Yep. And we say, is data I is equal to value? 8 is equal to 8. So that is now true. So in this case, we do go into the loop and we go to line 6 and we set result equal to true. Okay. And then we return result. So we stop at that point. We never get to the fourth element. We don't need to. We return result. So we jump out of this program and we go back to the call-in program. If we didn't find anything, we would have gone down here and returned the result, which would have been still false. But in this case, we've changed result to true. So this function will return true. And now you need to sit down and think about what should this function be called. What would be a good name to describe what this function does? All right. So that's the longhand way of doing it. What we're going to do now is we're going to get rid of the line and we're just going to go through looking at each value of I. So we're going to start with I equals to 0. Result is going to be false. And we still need our data.length, which is 5. So we'll put that back. Okay. And we still need the value that we're searching for, which is 8. So that will always be 8, and that one will always be 5. So I'll just put that in there to show that doesn't change. So the first thing we want to do is see, okay, whether we go into the loop. If I is less than data.length, that's true. And is data.length equal to the data I equal to the value? What's data I? Data I is 6. Is that equal to 8? No. So that's going to be false. Okay, so then we come round to I is 1. Result is still false. And we go and look up data I. So now that I is 1, we're going to go to minus 2. Yep. Is I less than data.length? I is 1, data.length is 5. So that is true. And is data I equal to the value? All right. So data I is minus 2, value is 8, so that is still false. All right, then we come to I equals 2. Is I less than data? Result is still false. We haven't changed it. Okay. I is still less than data.length. That's true because I is 2 and data.length is 5. Is data I equal to value? What is the data I? We're looking at number 2 now. So we go to here and we get the 3. Is 3 equal to 8? No. So that condition is false. Yep. So now we come to I equals 3. And once again, result is still false. We haven't changed it. Is I less than data.length? Yep. 3 is less than 5. So that is true. Is data I equal to value? Well, what's data I? We're on number 3 now, so we come down to here and we get the 8, the third element. And now we do the test, is data I equal to the value? Is 8 equal to 8? And that is true. Okay, so now we go true. We don't actually get any further, all right, because we don't increment I anymore. What happens is result is now set to true, so this changes from false to true. Yeah, and then we return result. So we stop at that third element and we exit the program. So that's a shorthand way of doing it. Hopefully that helps you understand what is happening with this program. Once again, now think about what you can call that function that will explain what it does, so that someone has a better understanding when they read just the function name, what's happening here. Okay, thank you.